What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. On today's video, we're going to cover Solana, as this thing must absolutely hold support really soon here at around the $77 to $81 level before we could possibly see another correction of up to 20 to 25%. So in today's video, I'm going to cover exactly what we need to be on the lookout for and exactly how I am playing this thing in order to maximize gains, whether we go up or whether we go down. Now, I know I said I would be back behind the camera today, but I did actually push my flight back one more day, so I will be home tomorrow. In that case, I will be back behind the camera to our regular scheduled activities. But with that said, let's go ahead and let's get straight into it. So looking at Solana, one thing we can see is that our call was on point. I told you guys that at the moment we started seeing closes below this range around $88 or the 786 level, that we needed to expect the price to start to correct back down to the range lows around $77 to $80. As you can see, that is exactly what happened. And if you did take on the short trade that I mentioned, which said that if we do close below this level, start shorting it towards the $77 to $80 level, well then at that point you would have gotten filled on that break it down target just earlier today. So congratulations, of course, to anyone on that. But going forward, one thing we can see is that we are now approaching that previous level of support, and Solana is about to make a very, very important decision on what is about to happen next. Now, one thing that we have been assessing is the fact that this thing is in a descending wedge. And more often than not, with descending wedges, I would say about 65-70% of the time, we will see breakouts towards the upside. The issue with that is, though, just the sheer size of this descending wedge here definitely could put Solana in a position to see falls all the way back down towards $30 to $40 before eventually seeing that breakup. So it's not just, oh, wait this thing out and just see whenever it breaks to the top side. We need to be very aware of how this plays out, because there could be implications of losses of well over 50, 60, 70% before that even happens. So our whole game plan is to try to figure out when that breakout could likely be on the way, or when we could start to expect these pushes towards the downside, whether that be to short to the downside or whether that be to accumulate cash throughout this fall to be ready to accumulate towards the downside. Okay. So looking at Solana, one thing that I would go ahead and say at this given point is that this is now at its breakdown target. Of course, now that we did lose the 786, we're down at this breakdown target right around our $77 to $80 level, right at the range lows. Now, Solana needs to decide right now whether or not we're going to start to see this bounce or not. Now, of course, I know this depends on Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin starts to bounce towards 37, 38, 39,000, well, Solana will too. But today we're focused on Solana. And it needs to decide, okay, is this going to be the point in which we hold support or not? I'm under the belief that if we start putting in closes below $77, that we are going to push down to this area of confluence around $67 to $65 to very possibly even revisit the previous bottom side of this wedge. The reason I believe $67 to $66 is going to be intact is going to be due to these two previous touches of resistance and support as we did exit this little consolidation / capitulation phase here. As you can see, whenever we wicked up, we wicked right up towards this $60 level or so, and as we did break up through it, we came back down and back tested this same little zone of resistance and support, clarifying that it is a point of confluence or just a point of importance. And so considering the fact that we did establish this as a key area of importance, what that tells us is that it's going to act like a magnet. And as we start to lose key levels of support and head in that direction, that magnet is going to start to pull the price in this direction towards the $67 to even $58 region. So right now, if Solana does decide that we are not going to be able to hold support here and set in this double bottom and start to look to break this descending wedge, do be on the lookout for the price to probably start to push down as low as, I would say, somewhere between 14 to even up to 25%. I would say a fair trade would even be to look for the 4-hour or even the daily closes below $77. And if we do so, a short trade down to $70 for somewhere around a 10% gain, if you're not leveraging, of course, would be a pretty valid option. Okay, I think I actually might take that on myself. Now, of course, it's not bulletproof. The market could just return at any given point before we hit our breakdown targets. But of course, that is just the game we play. Now, so that's kind of my game plan towards the downside. If we start to lose $77, do expect us to start to push maybe even towards $70, in which it definitely, a short trade on very small leverage in this volatile market definitely would be a decent option there. Now, if we are going to see the price start to turn back around, what it's going to look like is probably going to need to happen on this $77 level as we do approach it. Now, what's fantastic is that as we are approaching it, you can start to see this momentum slowing down in the fall, right? If we look at something like our 4-hour RSI, you can see the momentum starting to wane back in the direction of the bulls as we had this steep correction. Then we started to kind of bottom out here. And now we may even be on track to start to see a little bit of a turnaround. So we can very clearly see momentum is slowing as we do edge towards this range low. So what I'm looking for personally is that if we are going to start to return and bounce, I personally will not get excited until we are at least able to clear $92. The reason why I want us to clear $92 is it has been a clear level of resistance any time we are below it. As you can see right here, we hit it, resistance, came back down. We broke it. We failed to hold it as support. We lost it. We came back up to it, failed to clear it. Failed to clear it. But once we finally broke it and held it, we saw this huge run towards the $140 level. As we came back down, we back tested it and bounced very strongly off of it before coming back down, bouncing off of it again. And now at this point, as we've fallen below it, you can clearly see the point of rejection. So considering the fact that we're seeing so much resistance whenever we're below it and, not much support when we're above it, says that it is a level that is going to be, kind of one of those validation points for the bears, that if they can reject us off of it, they tend to be more successful. But if we can finally just clear it and hold above it, we do start to see the bulls really taking over. And so for that reason, I would look for the price to clear $92 before even really considering accumulating in some type of long trade. Realistically, in a perfect world for me, I would rather just be waiting to see this thing break towards the top side of this descending wedge, because even if we do break 92, we very possibly could get rejected and pushed back and down into the zone of confluence. So I definitely do think it is a risk to be buying Solana on a long trade at any given point right now, until we are again back above this key point of resistance here. So my whole game plan, of course, is saying that it could go up or it could go down. That is what I always do, and I will tell you guys that I think it could happen either way. It could go up to 92 and start to really retest the top side, or it could correct and get magnetized straight down to our key point of confluence. My goal here is to not pretend I have a crystal ball and to tell you exactly what's going to happen, but to tell you the trades I would be taking, and no matter what this thing does, so that I'm prepared for any outcome. So right now, to summarize this whole video, is be looking for $77. If we do lose $77, as we do get closer to it right now, I do believe a drop towards $70 or so, 70 to even as low as $60 around this little area very possibly could and will happen. And so I will be short trading it down towards that level, maybe on just 1.5 to 3x leverage, something super small that I don't have to worry about a massive liquidation if I'm wrong. And if we are going to start to see this level holding, what I would be on the lookout for is that we do push back above $92, as that has historically been an important point for us to get above in order to really start to retest the top side of this wedge. Even if it does look like something like an inverse head and shoulders, it all comes down to getting back above this level here and then using that momentum to re-clear the top side of this descending wedge. So overall, that's all I got for you today. Of course, as these things do start to happen and as these updates do start to become more frequent, I'm going to just let you guys know what I'm doing and exactly how I'm trying to take advantage of this market, because I think there are gains to be made to the upside and the downside. We just got to be prepared for those moves, and that's my whole goal here, is to prepare you for them as best that I can. So with that said, that's going to be about it for today's video. And of course, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, you can always let me know simply by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And I will see you all next time. Peace.